Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to more Rings of Power, where today I am happy to announce that this is by far the best episode we've ever had. Not only does the black person die in this horror movie, but we've got some cuckolding as well. I cannot conceive of any way this could possibly get any better from here on out.
I mean, the only thing that I find fucking funny with this episode is that there's a lot of tree hugging in this episode, and I mean a fucking lot. But after hearing that Amazon has been buying up a lot of acres of land in New Zealand for this show, and chopping down all the trees, burning the trees for the sets, and it's like, oh yeah, love the trees, protect them. No. Why are you setting a double standard here, Amazon?
The Amazonian hordes need the wood to besiege their competitors. Of course.
It's like... I honestly don't know what the fuck was going on in half of this episode, because they're trying to string together like 3 different plot points in one episode. And honestly, each of these should have just had their own episodes instead of like 10 minutes on this, 10 minutes on this, maybe 15 minutes on this. It is all... They need to prioritize what story they want to tell first, because I don't even remember what happened in the first 15 minutes of the show besides Tom Bombadil. That's it.
Well, I think what they're trying to do now is they're trying to hit on as many points of Tolkien as possible, again to try and spread their net, because we've got Tom Bombadil, we have Barrow-wight, we have supposed interference from Sauron, and perhaps most interestingly we have the Entwives, because of course in the Third Age, Treebird himself says that the Entwives are gone, like they went east or something, and the Ents could never rediscover them, and I believe Tolkien suggested that they'd probably been wiped out by Sauron's forces during the War of the Last Alliance. And this is obviously then Amazon going, okay, let's remove the mystery from all of this. Let's claim this and do basically what the Acolyte tried to do with Darth Sidious and go, okay, you've got this big cool thing that's part of your lore? Well, not anymore you don't.
It's just they're trying to condense so much into so little time, fucking up the timelines really fucking bad, because a lot of the shit that they are trying to put together in this story doesn't happen until the Third Age, and they're like, this is a Second Age story because there's not a lot in the Second Age, and it's like, why are you telling Third Age stories, my guy?
Well, that's the problem too, because the Barrow-wights, so they mention as they happen upon the Barrow-wights, it's like, oh, this is an ancient place where ancient people buried their kings. What a fucking ancient place. We are in the ancient times. This is the ancient times. There was diddly dick all before this. I mean, the men that lived here were savages at best. There weren't any ancient kings to be buried. And even if they were, the Barrow-wight aren't ancient kings that just woke up one night. They were infected by evil spirits, like specifically during the fall of Eriador and so on. Like, it makes no sense that they would be here, and it makes even less sense that the elves would be like, oh yeah, no, Barrow-wight, they can be put to sleep by their own swords.
Yeah,
okay.
It was all stupid. They did the classic horror movie trope where the one black man that was in the group got killed first, and very unceremoniously. It's just, he was chained up and just dragged to his utter demise, which is like, at least tradition lives somewhere, but it's the wrong one.
Hey, he knew he was black, and he knew he was entering a cemetery in the middle of night. He knew what was he knew what was coming to him. Like, that was on him.
Oh no, I figured it would be the white elf. I was like, wait, I hear something. Let me go check it out. And Galadriel almost got killed. It was, well, quote unquote, killed. But we all know the plot armor that she has. There's no high stakes when it comes to Galadriel or really anybody who is of worth. It's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Oh no, cliffhanger. Oh, we all know that she's already going to survive. So, like, I don't know what they're trying to do.
It's pointless. It's like...
Honestly...
The introduction of Tom Bombadil as well. And the worst part is he introduced himself as Tom Bombadil. No. If anything, he should be introducing himself by the elven name, Yarwen Ben Adar, at this point. Tom Bombadil, I'm pretty sure it's a name given to him either by the Hobbits or by the wizards or something. And he's living in Rune now for reasons. And apparently he was the one who trained the Dark Wizard, who's played by Caesar, for reasons. And he's conquered all of Rune, except there isn't any Rune to conquer. I mean, Rune isn't a nation yet either, so... who even knows?
And it's like, speaking of the hobbits, what are they called? Stores. The stores are supposed to be hobbits that live by the riverlands. They're not desert hobbits. And the fact that they have said that, no, there's no hobbits in the Second Age, but they're taking stores who are literally one of the 3 types of hobbits that are on Middle-earth.
They also keep calling them halflings now. They've completely given up on calling them half-orcs. They're just halflings now. And I imagine that what they're trying to do here is to say that the hobbits originate from Rune, which is hilarious in and of itself. And then one of them one day decided to just go wandering because he was like, oh, I've dreamt of the Shire, except we're going to call it Sheer or something. And he just left and was like, hey, I'll send somebody back to fetch you once I find the Shire. And they forgot about that, and that's the Half-orcs. And they, instead of going like, okay, well, like, we can't find this place, so we're going to settle down because we are a sedentary people. No, they've just kept walking for like 100 years. Just... cause reasons.
And it's like, I wonder if the reason why they are using halflings now is because in very like sparing moments in Tolkien's works is like he uses halflings to describe the hobbits and everything, but it's not, you know, the mainstay name for them. It's like, who was it? It was Pippin who went somewhere in disguise and he dubbed himself the Prince of Halflings. But that's about it.
And I'm guessing then that the story is that eventually Gandalf, or whoever the hell he is, will tell the hobbits how to get to the Shire, and they'll go back and they'll fetch all of the other hobbits, and that's how they got there, I guess. It doesn't make much sense, it's really dumb, and the very idea that the hobbits come from Rune, really, these tiny little retarded creatures who fear any predator whatsoever, came from one of the most inhospitable regions in Middle-earth. Okie dokie then, I guess.
It's like, I honestly don't know what they're trying to do with the hobbits. It seems like they're just throwing them into random situations at this point, especially when the 2 Harfoots aren't traveling with not Gandalf.
It's all just in an effort to claim them. It's basically they're going, okay, you know this part of the story, but actually, I've inserted my fanfiction at an earlier date, therefore they're mine now. That's what Amazon is doing.
It's like the most interesting part of this episode was, honestly, not really much of anything.
Was there an interesting part?
Well, besides the whole NTR thing at the very end of the episode in the last 30 seconds, no.
That was good. You know, the Numenorean, I don't even know who the hell he is anymore, honestly. Is that Isildur? No. Who? I don't even know. Anyway.
No, I think that is Isildur.
Is that Isildur? Okay, so he's found himself a brown woman, and he's like, okay, this is pretty cool. Let's have sex and stuff. And she's like, yes, totally. I want to go to Numenor because you've got running water. Basically, he's a passport bro, going like, hey, I have water in my house. And she's like, oh my god, luxury. But this is all then ruined when they discover her husband. And now we are going to advance upon this story in a good old cuckolding manner. Or he's gonna get killed by orcs or something. The dude's dead, he's just doesn't know it yet.
I don't know. It's like this episode was trying to say a lot while saying really fucking nothing.
I just realized the Numenoreans, they're the Israelis. The wildlings,
Oh, God.
Palestinians.
Shut up! No!
Yes, that's the story now.
Okay. Oh my god.
As for everybody else, I mean, the orcs are marching on other elf place where Sauron is making rings, because I don't know why. Why are the orcs marching?
I really don't know. I don't know why they're marching on a elven settlement, because like even with the numbers that they have right now, they will be very easily wiped out. Sure, fucking what's his name? Adar, whatever. It's like, yes, he's traveling with them. It's not like he has some extraordinary powers. He's just wrinkly.
It's like it's a weird situation. So Celebrimbor is being tricked into making the rings, and I use trick in the loosest sense conceivably possible here, by Sauron. Adar doesn't like Sauron. He had Sauron in his grasp, then let him go because Sauron sold him a line that the elves were creating a weapon, and that he was going to go and basically destroy it. I guess that's why the orcs are marching on it, to destroy this elven weapon? Okay, that makes a certain amount of sense. I don't know why they're marching now without hearing back from Helbrand as far as they're concerned, because he didn't really tell them much beyond like, oh, Celebrimbor, he's over there. Like, okay. Weren't you gathering intelligence? You're gonna just attack now? And you're gonna move through elven territory without being noticed as well, which I find mighty remarkable. Granted, this is a huge area of land, but this is the elves at the height of their power, at their zenith. Surely even attacking a elven settlement, this is a major elven capital too, under Celebrimbor, would be an enormous undertaking. I'm amazed, and I want to point out as well, in Season 1, you remember that? The big battle of Season 1 was like 20 dude on horses against 50 orcs. Where the hell is he getting these numbers from?
I really don't know. It's just like it's like, is the orcs marching on the elven settlement gonna be the thing that makes Halbrand or whatever the fuck he's going by right now just fuck off? Or are they gonna prolong this long enough for the Dwarven rings to be made and then he's gonna fuck off for a bit? I don't know. Because Durin still needs to go back and be like, okay, yeah, make those rings for the dwarves.
You see, kind of, the problem is right now that they've established that you need the furnace to create the rings. There's only one furnace, it's under Celebrimbor's command, so he's making the Dwarven rings first, because they started with that in episode 3, so they'll finish those, so he's still got 9 more to make, which I don't see how they're gonna slap those out in one episode, especially as Celebrimbor didn't want to make rings for men because they are weak, etc. And so that means that Sauron needs to get back to Mordor, especially to craft the one ring, and like none of this makes any sense. That's the problem. There's no path forward here. If the orcs besiege Celebrimbor and win, they kill Sauron. If the elves defeat the orcs and get to Celebrimbor, they inform him that Sauron is Helbrand, and they kill Sauron. And the only way they can get out of this is by hand-waving it like they've done everything else. Like, one of the really annoying things is, the elves arrive at a bridge, and the bridge is destroyed, and the Galadriel reaches out and says, oh, this is no work of nature, this is the work of Sauron. Sauron didn't do this. Sauron has no goddamn power. Sauron is having tea with Celebrimbor right now. Same when they reach the Barrow-wights, like, oh, Sauron must have woken them. You are giving this guy way too much fucking credit.
It's like I've said earlier, I wish they would actually show more of what Sauron is doing instead of like, oh, he's doing all these grandiose things. Okay, now he's having tea with Celebrimbor and saying that he can be the Lord of the Rings and whatever. And it's like, I want to see him scheme. I want to see him do all this fucked up shit to make sure that, you know, the elves aren't gonna get on his trail. But no, all we get is tea time.
There is no scheming. Like, that's the thing. Like, the whole Galadriel thing. That wasn't a ploy he came up with. He happened to be shipwrecked because a giant snake decided to eat his fucking boat. He didn't plan that.
It's like, the way that they're trying to frame all this is it was just one big coincidence. He just happened to show up when Galadriel jumped off her ship.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is all a work of fate. Oh my god. And Galadriel just bullying him into being evil again.
And then they brought to Celebrimbor, who just happened to be experimenting on this. And Sauron saw his experiment, just happened to be like, oh yeah, I know a way to do this. And he happened to... None of this has any agency behind it. Sauron isn't doing anything. He's bumbling from one plot point to the next, with nothing to guide him beyond the author's pen. See... This on a wider scope is going to be the problem with the Entwives as well, because the disappearance of the Entwives is a cool mystery. It's like, okay, where are the Entwives? Where are the Ent females? And Treebirders are like, well, we lost them. Okay. How? And that's a cool mystery. How did you lose them? Did they get lost? Did they get killed? Were they wiped out? Did you literally lose track of them between all the other trees? Like... That's a cool mystery. But now they're gonna explain that mystery. And it's the same thing here. How did Sauron manage to get all of these things? How did he trick the elves into creating the rings? How did he manipulate everybody? How did he get men and dwarves and elves to wear the rings? How did he ploy and scheme all of this? That was the mystery. And the mystery is the best part. Now we have the truth. And the truth is, he didn't plan shit. He just kind of happened onto all of this through sheer goddamn coincidence.
I don't know. It just seems like the rest of the show is just going to be stumbling until it finally dies.
And they have no plots. Like, did you ever watch a television series called House of Cards, Lumi?
Yes.
Very good show until it went off the deep end there at the end. But it shows Underwood's scheming. It shows him planning. It shows him being driven into a corner and then needing to throw Hail Marys and ploys out there to try and advance his position, you know? And then you also see this fall apart. The web of lies begin to disintegrate. But here... there is no web of lies. There is no web of intrigue. It's all just sheer goddamn coincidence and idiocy. Like, the very fact that Galadriel realizes she's been had by Sauron, the great enemy, the lieutenant of Morgoth, literally Satan, and then he goes, this isn't a valuable piece of information I need to tell Celebrimbor or anything. It's fine. I mean, I know he can forge these incredibly powerful artifacts, and I insisted we make 3 of them for balance, but he doesn't need to know that. Sheer idiocy is the driving force behind Sauron's plans.
It's just like there's so many other shows that have written evil characters like doing their shit subtly before they're even revealed. Like even Gravity Falls does so much of a better job with Bill Cipher because he doesn't show up as a main villain until like the 2nd season, but you can see when you do a rewatch of the series where he starts fucking shit up, and then when he's revealed, then everything that he planted just turns into a huge mess for the main cast, which is really good. Even at the end credits of that show, this is what got a lot of kids into learning and deciphering ciphers. At the end of every single credit scene, there would be a screen with a cipher for people to solve. That is cool. The Rings of Power isn't gonna do anything to have their audience think. And that is sad. They want to spoon feed everything, but make no sense in anything they're doing.
I mean, again, there's not even anything to think about. Like, there's no ploy taking place here. The closest we come is the Dark Wizard, I guess, and the mystery of Gandalf's backstory. And God, I hate the fact they've got, and I cannot pronounce his name because he's like genuine Irish or something, but Ciarán Hinds or Ciarán Hinds or something, famous for Caesar in Rome. He is such a goddamn good actor, and here he is with the thinnest of scripts imaginable. It's like, so what's my role here? You're like an evil wizard dude. Okay, why am I here? You live in Rune. Why? You studied magic under Tom Bombadil. Why is he in Rune? Like this entire world is built on nothing, and that is made even more remarkable by the sheer amount of something. I mean, this is Tolkien's work. The damn man wrote entire Bibles of his lore. He created a language. And here we are in 2024, and some bumblefucks whose greatest achievement was defrauding Amazon of a great deal of money, just making shit up as they go.
It's like at this point, like, even though none of us had any expectations for this show, we should just be ready to watch it fall and laugh as it goes on.
I mean, hey, it did manage to shed half of its audience from season 1 to season 2, so those are good numbers.
I just... The only thing that I'm looking forward to in this show now is just the dwarves, because you can actually feel some chemistry with the actors between Durin and... I forgot his wife's name. Tisa?
Oh, that's the worst part. There was no Durin and Disa in this episode at all. The only two characters I give a shit about.
Durin and Disa are they're the only good thing in this entire show, because they have a good dynamic. They bounce off of each other so well, even though half the time I forget Disa is supposed to be blind, but, you know, that's neither here nor there.
And at least she can act, which is more than you can say for the majority of the cast.
Mm-hmm. I hope the entire next episode is dedicated to them and them getting their rings. I would like to see the greed starting to affect current King Durin, and we'll see how that goes, since unless they're gonna fuck up the writing for the dwarves, where, you know, the dwarves act evil instead of just having pure greed because they're naturally resilient to, you know, the powers of Sauron and all that, because they're thick or whatever.
I do not expect these writers to be able to create a realistic and compelling story about greed, but I am looking forward to watching them try.